Hey, what's up, folks? This is J-Dub with another episode of Clogging Up the Airways. We are brought to you by MMA Futures, Access Rejuvenation, Straight Edge Barbershop, and Digital Alchemy Creative. My guest today is Nathan Rogers. He is the owner operator of the website MMA Futures, among very many other things. We're going to chop it up today a little bit. Without further ado, here he is. What's up, Nathan? How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. How's it going, my man?
It's going good. It's going good. Man, so you're a big tech guy, man. You run website. You also do the live streams for UFC Fight Pass now for Wooster on FAC. I know you got some promotions up in Nebraska and stuff. I know you just do a whole bunch of cool shit. You're like I want to be you. Like what well let's talk first off. Let's talk about what happened yesterday. We had this Wall Street thing blew up. Man, break it down for me. You probably know better than I do.
Man, in all honesty, it's been going on for a couple of weeks. They've kind of so there you've got a Reddit subgroup called Wall Street Bets. They've kind of been running up the price on some stocks that have been heavily shorted by a lot of big investment firms. And essentially, I was thinking this morning in the shower about this and how to explain what's happening to people, because it's a lot more complicated than what you want to believe. But really, I mean, think of it this way. Think about, you work for an apple orchard and you go out, you don't have anything with you. You go out and you sell 100 apples. And you go out and you say, I'm going to sell these apples. I can buy them from the orchard right now for $7, but I think that price is going to go down. So I'm going to go sell these 100 apples to these guys for $7.25 a piece. Okay. You go out, you go sell the apples. You say, I'll have them to you in a week. Okay. I'll deliver your apples to you in a week. You're going to pay $7.25 for them. Now, what they're betting on is that price is going to go down on those apples. So they're going to make a higher profit margin on it.
Right.
Well, what happened with this thing is that GameStop in particular is a very heavily shorted stock. So the Wall Street Bets people have gone out and said, you know what, let's drive up the price on this. So essentially now they're going back to the orchard. The orchard says, I don't have any damned apples, but you can go buy from this guy. Well, this guy over here is charging $300 an apple as opposed to $7 an apple. But these guys still had to deliver those damned apples.
Right.
So essentially what's happening is that when you buy on short, you buy options like that, your amount you can lose is infinite. If it goes up to $10,000 a share, you still have to pay that $10,000 a share to be able to give those people what you told me you're going to deliver.
Right. So what's going on is in short, basically the internet tech guys, the guys that can, like you and me, that can go and buy stocks on the internet, got together, collaborated, and said, let's buy GameStop stock and get this shit boosted. And basically they're dipping into a game. Basically it's money that doesn't exist. It's basically, so it's money that's borrowed by by these big banks or not the big banks, but even this is fake money that they're playing with. Now Wall Street big bank guys in the establishment play this game all the time. They do this shit with money that doesn't exist all the time. Now all of a sudden there's this entity, which is basically a whole bunch of tech guys that got together and use social media and the internet to go in and buy a bunch of stocks for GameStop, and boost the price of the stock up and then not sell. Now they have basically in turn beat them at their own game. They beat them at their own game. And this is the same people. These are the same people that in 2008 got bailed out by the government. This is the same people that got, that put our country into a recession and then got bailed out by the government and then also paid themselves huge bonuses. Like this is the same people. These are the same people that may not be the exact same people, but mostly it is. And not the same people per se per name, but it's the same type of people. These are the people that play games with money that doesn't exist. And they also, this is funds, guys like you and I lost houses, their 401ks, everything. Like, this was a big deal for us. I remember 2007, 2008. It was a nightmare, man. I couldn't find work anywhere. Everybody's afraid to spend money. I spent a year and a half on unemployment. This is something that I just it was really cool to see, but the story's not over yet, because what in turn happened was the establishment, or the man, whatever you want to refer to them as, they shut down the trading, right? Was there something like that where they shut down the websites? They shut down Robinhood or something? And
so essentially what happened. So this happened yesterday. So here's kind of the end of this, kind of where we're coming to a head on this story at, is that today is the day that a lot of these shorts are going to be due. At the end of the day today, a lot of these short buys these guys did are going to be due at the end of the day today. So they've got to go out there and find the stock to buy to be able to sell it. So yesterday what happened was an overnight. So there's some things that are a little bit weird about the stock market, but if you're a big hedge fund and you have a lot of money behind you, you're able to affect the stock market overnight and things like that by putting in trade orders and stuff like that.
Right.
So essentially what they did was Wednesday night, a bunch of them got together and they dumped a bunch of stock. They drove the price down on the stock on Wednesday night, overnight. It dropped from $400 a share to $188 a share overnight on Wednesday night. It opened at 192 or something like that.
We're talking about GameStop.
GameStop in particular. GameStop is really the one that's really affecting people. There's some other ones out there, but you're looking at GameStop. You're looking at a share that 3 weeks ago was $17 a share. As we speak right now, let me just look at the number real quick. As we speak right now, GameStop is trading at $359 a share. So,
I love it, man. It's I love it. That's
so. But anyway, so back to what I was saying. Yeah. Yesterday, so they went through and they affected the stock market. And essentially, what they're trying to do is they're trying to drop that price of the stock. So all the people that are holding onto the stock overnight got on yesterday and said, "Shit, I want to stop the bleeding," and got rid of their stock. So then there was more stock available for them to buy, which it did affect it. It dropped down quite a bit yesterday and then kind of started gaining again. And then what happened yesterday was, so the stock, so Wall Street has some things in place that if there's some extreme ups and downs in stock, they stop trading for a few minutes to make sure everything gets regulated. That's been there for years. Mm-hmm. So that's something you can't be upset about. But yesterday there was a lot of places, especially Robinhood and Webull, which are newer forms that are designed more for your phone. And Robinhood allows you to buy fractions of a share and stuff like that, which is kind of a cool thing to do, especially for people starting off investing. You don't have to buy a $350 share. You can buy $10 of a $350 share. Mm-hmm. Well, yesterday they decided, what they say is that the market was too volatile. They were trying to protect their customers, so they stopped trading on several of these stocks that are being heavily shorted that people are trying to impact. And what I thought was crazy is within 2 hours, there's already a lawsuit filed against Robinhood in the District Court of New York, saying they're manipulating the market. And today you're allowed to trade on Robinhood, these stocks, but they've made it so you can't buy a fraction of the stock. You have to buy a whole share, which that is what it is. That's the way the stock market has always been meant to run, is you have to buy a share. You can't buy a tenth of a share.
Right. It's interesting, man, because I'm not a big stock guy. I caught the story a little bit in fractions, and then I went in and really delved into it to see exactly what it was about. GameStop in particular caught my eye. I'm a little bit of a gamer, so when I was scrolling, I started seeing the GameStop, and I started seeing people talking about the stock market and whatnot. And then I really delved into the story, and it is an interesting one. I think that do you think they manipulated the market? What's your thoughts on it?
I mean, I think that the market has been manipulated from the jump. I mean, you've got companies out there that drive down the price of stock so they can buy the stock back at a lower price to be able to have more shares of it to buy out a company. Or there's a lot of things that the big companies have done for a long time. This is the first time that we've seen the internet as a whole be able to go in and you and I be able to affect the stock market as a whole. And what's really funny is that, we just got over this entire issue. We just went through this election, which was very polarizing. It was Democrats versus conservatives.
Yeah.
Right now, everybody, the media, the liberals, the conservatives, everybody is up in arms because all these people have a lot to lose in this. Where the small guys, the guys that don't have that voice, are the ones that be able to make an impact now. So, and that's what I find super interesting is that now you're seeing major companies. Now you're seeing major companies and stuff standing together against the people, which is absolutely absurd.
And it kind of comes down to so in my opinion, there is the right and the left, man. I don't choose either side because I think it's all absurd and a smokescreen. I'm not a super big conspiracy theory guy, but I can see, I can see the obvious in my opinion. You got, they're the same people that run the world. And it's run through, a capitalism system, a capitalism system where it has gotten so big. Now, I don't want to, offend anybody. Capitalism is good on a lower scale, I think. But when it becomes a situation where the entire world is a corporation, I think that capitalism, there is that is no different than a dictatorship or something similar to that, because maybe not an individual, but a corporation as a dictator. This corporation that runs the world, and it eventually will happen. Like, there's several different big companies right now, but it's just a part of how things evolve, in my opinion, when you have a system like this to where, it's the one that has. So if I have more money to buy goods and I can get them I can distribute, I have a better way to distribute them on a large scale. The little guy doesn't have a chance, man. There's no way you're going to be able to outsell Walmart and be able to have prices that can compete with theirs, because they buy bulk. They buy it bulk. They got, all these ways to distribute all the way around the world. It's hard for you to start up a store and do any good out and be able to beat a large corporation that does the same thing. And so you've got these, not to get sidetracked, but you got these top 1%ers that run the world, and they run the world in a way that, like, there's the differences between right and left aren't that big. Like, you've got these issues that they bring up that are big, allegedly gun control, abortion, things like this. Really, there's not that much of a difference in opinion for either one, but like the media uses these subjects to kind of like completely divide, the country in a way that, like, it's like when everything is so team oriented now. So like, if you like the Chiefs and I like the Raiders, man, we almost can't even be friends. Like, it's ridiculous. Or we'll argue online or like, I followed politics really heavily when I was a younger guy in my 30s, early 30s. And I lost a lot of friends because I would voice my opinions and it would cause arguments, and it would just be like, oh no, you're stupid. And it's like religion. There's no way you're going to convince anybody of anything different than they already believe. They're going to watch Fox News. They're going to watch MSNBC, man. And whatever they say is going to be real. And might I add that this 1% owns, 7 of the major media channels, so they get to control a lot of what we process as far as the media goes. They've moved. The internet has done a lot for us, in my opinion. It has given us a place to share information and ideas and opinions. And that's was never there before when I was a kid.
But you say that, but I will say that the biggest issue that I see these nowadays is the ability to share disinformation. I see a lot of times the people are out there sharing on Facebook. They're getting mad because their posts are getting blocked. They're saying it's the liberal media trying to shut me down. It's like you have to understand that Facebook, for the most part, isn't the one going out and blocking this stuff. They're using third parties and things like that. They're trying to verify if these things are true or not.
Right.
But I think we've moved out of the information age and into the disinformation age. In all honesty,
agreed.
People are going to get behind what they want to get behind. They're going to believe what they want to believe, and for the most part, you're not going to be able to steer them away from that.
Well, and basically, I think what you got to do is kind of teach people to be able to filter information and not believe everything they read.
Oh, absolutely. I think that being able to fact checking is so huge these days.
Yeah.
You can't believe anything you see, no matter where it's from. You've got to read between the lines. Anything coming out of a major news outlet, it's got truth behind it. They're not telling you lies.
Right.
The real question is what are they skipping? What are they not telling you? How are they spinning it in their favor?
Agenda?
But I'll tell you what, who you should be watching if you really want real decent information. Watch the local news.
Yeah.
I used to work in local news. These people they just want to get out there. A lot of these people care about their community. They want to get there and tell you that they have nothing behind it except for they want to tell you their news.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. People's opinions do come out. You do see that a lot, and you do see that most people that work in news are, more liberal than they are conservative, even though you do have some people out there that are more conservative.
I agree. I agree totally.
Let's talk a little bit about MMA here, man.
Yeah. Let's get into that subject. We can go on all day about that stuff. Yeah, man. So there's a lot of good stuff coming up. FAC's got a show around the corner. I'll see you there. What else has got going on, man? You're all over the Midwest, man. So you tell me.
Man, tomorrow night, man, I got fights coming from right here in Omaha, Nebraska with Dynasty Combat Sports.
Oh yeah, Train.
Yep, with Train up here, man. It's I love their shows. They're smaller shows. We do them in a ballroom up here. But they put on some good fights. Let me just pull up the card here real quick and give you just give a quick run through about what's going down tomorrow. I know you reach more to the Kansas City audience, so maybe they want to tune in and watch something here. These are on Fight TV. I honestly have no idea what they charge for them.
I think it's like $8. I think it's like $8.
I think it's like 18. I'm not sure.
18. Okay, it's went up. I used to fight for Train back in the day. This has been probably, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, maybe. I took a few 7 years ago. Anyway, I started fighting in the Midwest for Dynasty Combat Sports. So man, they've been around for a minute, and I can tell you they're a top-notch organization. I've brought a lot of fighters up and fought on their shows. Man, Train always does everybody does them real and right. If you don't, if you're looking for a fight in the Omaha area, get with him, man. He'll help you out.
So, actually, tomorrow night's main event is actually a pretty cool fight. It's Ronald Coleman versus I think it's Terrence Wishman. But Ronald Coleman, man, what a story, man. This kid here, he wrestled. He was an all-state wrestler here at Omaha North for all 4 years in high school. Moved out. He lives in eastern Missouri, south of St. Louis. He went to college out there, was a running back for a football team out there, went there on scholarship.
What college did he go to?
I don't remember. He's actually on the Futures channel. I did an interview with him during COVID. Super nice kid. But he came back. His first fight as an amateur, first fight ever. He came out, fought for the DC heavyweight title, won the fight. He's main eventing tomorrow night. Man, this kid is kind of the future as far as heavyweights. We got a couple of good heavyweights up here. Ronald Coleman's definitely no one to look to move on past. We've also got Keelan Feintroy's fighting tomorrow. Josh Sharapa. These are kind of some local names that people around here know. Ashley Caniglia. He came out. He main evented their last card. He's a good fighter. He's a professional fighter. So all in all, tomorrow night's card should be a good, fun card. It's a local show. Dana White might be saying that local stuff's not happening, regional stuff's not happening. Man, it's happening here in the Midwest.
It is in the Midwest. Yeah, it is in the Midwest for sure. Yeah, man, they like down here. I know that the casino fights have shut down. I don't know. I'm sure they'll be back eventually. Just got to get through this whole process of the COVID. That's cool, man. Those are some good fights. Is he still putting amateurs on his shows?
So this is, pretty much this show, just looking at it, it's almost entirely amateur.
Is it?
The Ashton Caniglia fight's the only one that on here that I recognize as being professional. Keelan Fantroy might also be a professional fight. I'm not positive about that. If he is, he just recently turned professional. So that's this month. That's the only fight we've had all month. We've got another card with Dynasty in February 27th. That was a little bit further out, so I don't know exactly who all's on that card. Man, I go to Mexico for a week. I fly back into Kansas City. We got fights in Kansas City with FAC.
Yeah.
March is one of my busiest months of the year. I think I've got 3 fights in 4 weeks in March scheduled right now.
All right.
And that is bound to change. We've got Midwest Championship fighting happening on March 20th, which I don't know if
that located.
It's in North Platte, Nebraska. If you're not familiar with Midwest Championship fighting, the promoter out there, his name's Russ Jones. Super cool guy. He comes in with a little bit different mentality than a lot of these promoters do. I mean, he is a fight promoter, not a gym promoter. I look at you've got 3 different types. You've got 3 different types of promoters out there.
Yep.
You obviously have the top end promoters, which are going to be Bellator, PFL, those things there. And what they're looking for is they're looking for matchups. They're looking for, they want to put on the best fight they possibly can. Yeah. And then you have your local ones, and they're going to have some sort of affiliation with these smaller local shows. They've got some sort of affiliation. They've got something. They've got some reason why they've got certain fighters on there they want to win. Some of the they do put a lot of fights on there they want to match up well. But they do have ones that they're expecting to go a specific way.
Right.
So those are kind of your 2 polar opposites. Russ kind of falls in the middle. He's kind of this guy that he puts on 2 shows a year. He does one in March. He does one in October every year, like clockwork. Our March show last year ended up happening in October because of COVID.
Yeah.
But like he's got Terrence McKinney fighting on this card in March. Against but anyways, back to what I was going to say. So he's in a perfect location because he draws from Denver and he draws from Omaha and Kansas City and stuff. So he's able to bring a lot of people in from all over the place.
Right.
He puts a lot of money into these shows. He'll put, where a lot of these guys, they'll put, a few $1,000s into their pro fights. He'll put tens of thousands of dollars into his pro fights.
Man, that's awesome.
He wants to make that online money revenue. In North Platte's kind of an interesting place. It's a railroad town.
Yep. Santa Fe. Or not Santa Fe, North
Union Pacific.
Union Pacific. Yes.
They like clockwork. You put on an MMA event, they're going to show up. It's a town of 20,000 people. I've never seen less than 1,500 people in that venue, even during COVID.
That's awesome. So that town, I got family in that town. I've been to that town many a time. It is it's in the middle of nowhere, and it's a decent sized town. It's got a huge railroad yard. My cousin that lives there, he works for the railroad. So I know all about those guys up there. He's called me a few times because every time there's a rail or a fight, all him and his buddies go. And Fight TV is great. I don't know if you know that guy, but maybe.
No.
Fight fan. All right. Continue though. Yes, railroad town, North Platte. North Platte is cool. I drive to Wyoming all the time. You're also a Wyomingite.
Yep.
I drive to Wyoming all the time. I take I-80 across Nebraska, man, and I usually stop there and see my cousin and occasionally spend the night, whatnot.
Yeah, man. North Platte. I mean, that's where MMA Future started. So MMA Future started at this event in North Platte 8 years ago. Now this will be like our 15th or 16th fight out there with Russ Jones. I actually just talked to Russ last night. We're bringing Kelly Wiseman back in. Kelly Wiseman is a old school Militich fighting guy.
Mm-hmm.
Grew up in Militich Fighting Systems. Moved out to North Platte. It's kind of the reason why MMA exists in North Platte. Kelly is also a big reason why MMA Futures got started. He introduced me to Jens Pulver. And Jens, if you've been around MMA Futures for a while, when we started, Jens was a huge part of this. He lives 4.5, 5 hours away from here. He lives over in the Quad Cities. I'm in Omaha. So it's hard for us to connect sometimes. But he was a huge part of us getting this started. And it's been a heck of a ride. And who knows? I mean, we just hit 10,000 subs on YouTube, which is a huge thing for us. Trying to plan something for it. I'm a busy guy. I got a lot going on.
Yeah, you got a lot. You can pull in 10 different directions.
I got 3 companies that I run. MMA Futures is definitely my passion. But we're always trying to figure out ways to expand in what we're doing, and that's why we decided to partner with you.
Yeah, the podcast is really kicking off.
We've been talking for a long time about doing a podcast and things like that. Issue is, man, I can't do everything myself. Yeah. So I need somebody that's willing to take that head and be able to come in and say, you know what, I'm going to do this. If you want to be a part of it, I'm down for it. But
it's fun. I
want you behind it.
I figured, I started out with this. I did 16 episodes, and man, I just kind of did it for fun, man. I seen, obviously, I'm a big fan of Joe Rogan's show. I watch that, and I think it's really interesting, and I think that that is a good way to get information. If one thing that I was driving a lot, man, I would kick a podcast on, man, and just like, I had a couple friends that tried it out when podcasts were first starting to evolve. And man, I had a friend and a sister that were doing podcasts, and man, I would listen. I mean, I would be entertained because I know them; they're my friends, and they would, they'd still make me laugh and whatnot. But I'd flip through the podcast, and that's what I do when I drive now, is I listen to podcasts. And I always wanted to try it, man. And COVID hit, and I was like, man, I want to do something. I got all this. I got a new computer. I got a some cool software. I got some cool hardware too. And I was like, well, you know what, I'm going to try this. And I know a lot of people. So I was like, I started pulling some pretty cool guests, and I think that it's only going to grow, man. Like, now we're available on Spotify. Like, I thought it was really cool. Like, I looked it up the other day, and I had to take a screenshot and share with everybody. So it was, it's available on Spotify and all the major platforms. And this is thanks to MMA Futures. So, I also, I want to get into some, just being it's an MMA based podcast, but I also want to just kind of get in, like, we don't always just want to talk about MMA. I also want to talk, like we did today, about the Wall Street thing, interesting, up to date, or current events, up to date current events, those type things. But, we got one airing today on Spotify and all the platforms at 3:00, right? Which one is that? It's gonna be Zach.
It should be out at 3:00. No, it is. Let me just look up here. It's actually just on there. Mm-hmm. I don't remember. It was the second one you sent me. Zach should probably
Davion Franklin.
Davion Franklin. There you go.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah,
Zach will probably up next week. And in all honesty, we'll probably push this one out. Maybe a little bit later this afternoon as a special episode. Yeah. I mean, we're talking about fights there tomorrow. It's not like we can wait for 2 weeks to push this one out. So we'll probably push it out as a special episode.
We can do that. Yeah, do that. If you need me to, throw a quick edit on there, I can. I got at least the audio side of it. I mean, I think it does pretty good though. Like, I don't have live. I really don't have many edits. I just kind of edit the beginning and the end. So here we are talking about behind the scenes stuff with everybody.
Well, and I tell you what, man. I mean, it's we've got some other stuff in the works right now as far as the MMA Future stuff. Very fortunate that I've got a good relationship with our public access station here in Omaha, and I think that me, Matt Bentley, and Houston Alexander are going to start doing a weekly recap type of show, very much like you'd see on. We originally wanted to do it on Sundays, and actually you gave me the idea to do the Sunday show, and I wanted to do a fight night hang type of thing.
The Sunday shows do well, bro. The Sunday morning shows do well.
I thought it'd be really cool to do that Sunday morning show. But the issue is that, man, my schedule on Sundays and everybody's schedule on Sundays is a little bit crazy.
Well, man, hey, let me know if you guys need a special guest in there, man, to chop up the monotony. I'm down.
So hey, let's talk about the big stuff here. Let's talk about. Did you watch the fights last weekend, man?
I did. I didn't watch the fights, but I watched the recap. I had my kids, so okay. Yeah. My buddy, who I always go over to his house because he gets the UFC fights every time there's a big fight on. His kid caught COVID the day before, so I was planning on going to his house, and it was like, So anyway, and he's got kids that are same age as my kids, so like we just go over there and have a great time and party down. So we didn't get to do that, but I did catch, the upset, the Conor McGregor upset. But
was it really an upset?
What's that?
Was it really an upset?
I don't think so. I mean, he was favored, but in my opinion, like. I mean, I almost wonder about everything Conor does now, man, because he's so sneaky, man. I mean, like now he's set the stage for a three-peat. That's obviously a third fight between those two is going to pay big. They just smashed the pay-per-view records. Like it's I don't know, man. What are you up to, Conor? He's $100 million boxing match one time, one week. Then like he's super cool to a guy in weigh-ins. Like, well, what do you go? When did all of a sudden you become a sportsman? And yeah, anyway, I Connor's an interesting guy. A lot of people don't like him, man. I've always liked him just because I think that there's a method to his madness.
I mean, is that what you expect? Do you expect it to be us to see Poirier versus McGregor 3?
Oh yeah, man. I mean,
I don't think Poirier wants it. I think Poirier, his goal is to be a world champion and not to make the money grab.
What if Dana White puts a fucking belt on it? Would that be a mistake?
Then you're gonna have a ton of upset people, man. There's a lot of people who do a lot more than Conor does at this point.
It's getting to be about this right here. I think that if you're talking about a money fight that's going to make Dana White money, that's going to make the two fighters a lot of money, I think that a three-peat is the way to go. But I also agree that it's not I wouldn't say that should be the two top contenders, in my opinion. I mean, Poirier is, I don't know. Connor's just, I don't know if just something happens to fighters. I don't know when they take a tough loss, it takes a while to bounce back or just getting back is tough, especially when you were dominant for so long. I mean, look at Anderson Silva. I mean, he dominated for so long and then I hate to bring up, female, but, my brain's not working. Old girl, what she got beat, man. She went crazy.
Rhonda.
Yeah. Wrestling now. Man. I don't know. I saw an interview with her the other day, man. And this is, I don't know when this interview was recorded. It was fairly recent. Man, she looked like she is, on medication or something, man. It was, she was just not, she just didn't look like she was present. I don't know how to say it other than that, but just highly medicated, maybe. I don't know.
Man, you know what? Let's move away from the spectacle that we call Conor McGregor, man. How did you feel about the Hooker versus Chandler fight?
Wow, Michael Chandler. Wow, dude.
Did you expect that?
I don't think did anybody expect that?
I think Chandler's camp did.
Man, I just wow, man. I mean, like honestly, coming out of Bellator, you get you get that where okay, there's UFC and then there's Bellator's down here, but like not so much anymore, man. I mean, and it's also the fight game. Being a fighter, I know that man, it doesn't take much to come in and if you're not focused or you get cocky or anything, like it's just like the old saying, any given Sunday for NFL football. Like it's the same with fighting, man. At the pro level, man, it just takes one mistake to end a fight. One mistake, and it doesn't it doesn't really matter who you are. If you get an old guy like me in there and you let him slip one in on your chin, the fucking fight's over.
Oh yeah.
It did. I guess it did surprise me, but then again, it didn't.
Man, you know what I feel real bad about is I feel like everybody feels like this took something away from Dan Hooker, and Dan Hooker, leaving his gloves in there. Man, Dan Hooker, man, he's young. He's still got a long ways to go.
Yeah.
And man, that body type at 155, man, he's going to make some noise there. Man, I hope he's not done. I understand he's got a long wait ahead of him to see his kids and stuff back home in New Zealand. But man, I hope that man's not done fighting. Man, I love watching him fight.
Yeah, I didn't catch that. What happened? Like, what he said he was retiring or something?
So essentially when he walked out of the cage, he left his gloves in the cage, very much like people, like a fighter would do if he says they're done fighting.
Or a wrestler that leaves the shoes in the middle of the circle or whatever. Yeah.
But we also know that MMA retirements are fickle at best.
As a 43-year-old man, I take that comment offensively. So to everybody that's listening or watching, like this is 100% true. I've been retiring for probably 7 years now. Maybe longer. I think I remember 33 when I was 33. I had a tough fight, man. And this is, again, I didn't go pro until I was 39. So, this is when I was in my amateur days of just kind of like, this is, not the wild west days. I don't want to offend anybody that's from the old school, but this is the new Wild West days. This was in Wyoming, and this is when unsanctioned fights were still happening, and they're pulling people out of the crowd. Anyway, this kid that was well trained. This is where I think right after this fight, the entire state went sanctioned, and I mean literally within a couple of weeks. Anyway, I went 2 rounds with this tough kid. I got caught on the jaw. And man, my jaw swelled up and I couldn't chew food. And I got, both eyes. We won fight of the night. I ended up losing that fight in a TKO. But I punched this kid so hard he could take a hit. We both were bloodied, beaten, bruised. I mean, it was just connection, hard connect after hard connect. Anyway, my jaw was swole up. I went in. I went to work the next Monday following the Saturday night, and I had my eyes swole shut. My boss walks out and he goes, "God damn, what happened to you?" And I was like, "Oh man, I forgot. This is what happens in my house when you don't do the dishes." And it's funny, laugh, haha. But man, there was a moment there where I was like, "Well, man, I'm kind of going after some other things in life." So I took 2 years off. And man, since then, 35 since 35 to 43 years old, man, I've went pro, had 9 pro fights. I had a total of 40 amateur fights. That was before 35, but before 39. Anyway, got to fight at Bellator, everything else. So yeah. So since I retired, I've done quite a bit. So and I've been throwing the word retirement around again. I talked to Zach, my coach, not to pull away from the point here. The subject here is retiring and what it means for MMA guys. And yes, it is shaky at best. So we don't know for sure when or who or if you're going to retire. A lot of times I can tell you personally that when you walk away from a sport that you love and you still have the physical ability to do it, it does suck taking a hard loss, man. It takes, you're thinking, okay, you know what? Maybe I'm done. You know what? I felt that way after the last fight I had, Anthony Garrett. I didn't come in prepared mentally. I took injuries, 2 really good injuries in training camp. I had some other, my personal life was not where it should be. So man, I just I probably shouldn't even have been in the cage at all. Not making any excuses for the loss, but I walked away from the cage and I was like, man, I don't know if I ever want to do this again. I didn't have a good time. This was not fun. It wasn't fun leading up to the fight. It wasn't fun during the fight, and it wasn't fun after the fight. And that is something that happens to a passionate person that is passionate about what they do and does something that they love. So I get it. And I see why. I mean, I'm trying to explain to the listeners what goes through a fighter's mind per a tough loss. It's something when a guy does it when he wins. If he wins and then says I'm done, like GSP or my cat messing with my green screen. um, uh, when GSP, Khabib, that's where you almost think that maybe that's probably going to stick when they come off of a win and retire. That's something that they've obviously thought about, and then they went out and had a good time and still said, okay, you know what, I'm done. Coming off a loss, I don't believe that, when a MMA guy says that, because I know what they're going through. I know what's going on in their head. I know the process, what you're going through when you're trying to think about, what you want to do. Like, man, especially for me, man, at 42, 43, man, dude, it hurts going to the gym every fucking day, man. Like, I like doing it. It's fun. But man, it gets to a point where I fought 6 times, in 2019. And that was when I was 42, 41 to 42. Yeah. 6 times in a 12-month period. It was awesome. 2 of them were huge Bellator fights. I had a fucking blast, but my body, bro, was destroyed. The only time that I didn't hurt throughout 2019 was when I was on the mat rolling for whatever it's worth. Like, you get loose, you get on there, you roll. So man, I understand when they say they're retiring and then maybe, end up coming back.
Man, I mean, just kind of a little bit about what you're saying there. And I talk a lot to, I really do look at a lot of younger fighters and stuff like that. Man, if you are not enjoying your time when you get in that cage as a fighter, find something else. I understand you want a reason to go to the gym and stuff, but if that's the case, go do jiu-jitsu tournaments. Go do something that's not going to possibly leave lasting injury on you.
Yeah.
If you're not having fun when you're in the cage, don't be in there. That's really my biggest takeaway is that, if you go out there and you love it, win or lose, that's one thing. Weight cutting sucks. I understand that.
Yeah.
But man, if you don't enjoy your time in the cage, don't do it. It's actually really funny is that this is probably 7 years ago. I did an interview at Premier Combat Center with Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith had just lost to Nog, had just lost to Josh Neer in Victory Fighting Championship. I said I talked to him, and he was quitting MMA. He was done. He was gonna go do kickboxing. He then left that gym, went over to McDoyle's gym, who McDoyle's a world-class Muay Thai instructor up here, and got with a friend of mine, Matt Bentley, who started coaching him. And he found a new love for the sport, got in there, and, well, I mean, the history is now there. I mean, he's competed against the best in the sport at light heavyweight. But 6-7 years ago, he was done. He was quit. He didn't care. He'd broken his hand fighting against Josh Neer. And he was done fighting. So, maybe sometimes taking a step back, you get re-energized in that also.
So I agree, man. So my first pro fight, I'm gonna again go back to, I don't want to just talk about me, but like all I can really relate to this is my experience with it, and being an older fighter that's on the, pretty much coming to the end of his career. And the animals in this house, dude, they're out of control. Now this guy's got my freaking screen. You take your ass on upstairs. Go on now. Anyway, as an older fighter, and I can only relate to my experiences. Now, my first fight was, again, when I went pro at 40. It was against Antonio Martinez, man. And Antonio will argue that he caught me with a punch. I disagree. I think you were there probably. I'm going to disagree, and he's going to get mad about it, but I don't really give a shit. I slipped, and I caught a hammer fist, and he TKO'd me. He flash KO'd me, and the fucking fight was over within 24 seconds. It was horrible. I'm not saying that, I would have beat him. Not saying he would have beat me. What I'm saying is that I wanted to fight. That wasn't a fight. Anyway, coming off that, I thought I was done. And then again, here I am 4 fights later. So, or wait, 8 fights later. 8 fights later.
in here real quick. You said
What's that?
Antonio Martinez. That man retires officially after every single fight he fights.
Every single fight. Yeah. Officially.
He's one of my favorite guys to watch.
Yeah.
But he's always retired until he fights again.
Yeah, he retires. We're just a big. That's what I was. My point was going to eventually get back into that. Was that Antonio? So I got somebody that will probably give us some good insight on this. I'm gonna put him in here with us. Chris Gregory.
Mr. Gregory,
what's popping, guys?
How's it going, my man?
I've just been sitting back, watching, listening. You know, Kaiser over here. Got to give him a hard time. The only reason I came on the show.
hey, so everybody, we got three popular guys on here, man. Hey, share this bad boy to your Facebook page, man. Let's get some viewers on here.
All right, bet.
Yep, just share it to your personal page. I'm gonna do the same. Already did.
You came in a little late, Kaiser. I took 2 fights and I knew I was done. I knew it wasn't for me. I was like, nope, that's it. I won 1, lost 1. That was it.
I've never fought. I have no desire to get punched in the face. I don't understand the thing behind it. But I will tell you, I got into jiu-jitsu a few years ago. Just wanted to train, just wanted to know a little bit more about the sport. I spent so much time around it and ended up competing in Nagas. So I can't say it would never happen. If I decided to start training, I'd probably end up getting punched in the face. But
my thing was like, first of all, I wasn't an athlete to start with. You know what I mean? Big guy. I'm not an athlete, you know, and I was just like King Mo and Gerald Harris. They were like, you have to fight. If you want to talk about it, you want to be on these podcasts all the time, you got to fight. And at that point, it was like, hey, do you want to fight in 4 weeks? And I was like, yeah, sure. Why not? Hadn't trained at all. Not even a little bit. I thought I knew how to fight, but I didn't, you know.
Everybody, let's just get that straight. Like, everybody thinks they can fight.
Oh, yeah. Everyone.
I love the speech that Zach gives. Like, he says, man, you know, every guy thinks that they can fight. He thinks that, oh, man, if it came down to it, I just knocked that dude out, blah, blah, blah. And I 100% agree with that, because every guy has an ego. Every guy thinks they can fight. What I like is when they come into the gym to try to, get ready for it.
My favorite is when the CrossFit guys come in. It's like they're just yoked and they look so big.
Chiseled. Yeah.
Yeah, they're chiseled, but they don't have anything because they're so just stiff because they're so big, you know. But like, man, jiu-jitsu is my thing. Like, I love jiu-jitsu. Like, I don't get punched in the face. You know, I don't get my teeth knocked out anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
have you ever rolled with Josh Baker?
No, I haven't.
Okay, well then he'll bloody your lip. Just letting you know. Like, he does this. Man, that guy pisses me off so bad.
Actually,
Baker, man, rolling. I love rolling with Baker. I love Baker, man. But he will do this freaking forearm grind on your face, and man, he's had me so fucking hot, pissed off at him. Like, you know, grinding this thing into my face, and I'm like, Baker, like, dude, like, that's not gonna make me tap, dude, but it's gonna piss me off. Like,
it doesn't feel good, especially with the gi. Like, people don't understand. Like, that gi
it's a dick move. It's a dick move, and it's done by a dick.
So like, my passion is jiu-jitsu right now. You know, as far as like me, and I'm February 7th, actually Super Bowl Sunday. I'm going to a seminar that Kraus is running in Mount Vernon, Missouri. So just trying to up my jiu-jitsu level. That's all.
That sounds fun, man. I wanted to do a jiu-jitsu tournament too before I get promoted to a blue belt. Like, I want to sandbag a little bit. Yeah, I think that I probably, I watched all the guys that were white belts when I was in there a year ago, and like, man, they've all been steadily going to the gym, man. And you know, I've had, you know, I've had some personal things I had to line up, so I haven't been in there. Man, I'm watching all these guys get their blue belts, and I'm like, God dang, man, I just was choking that dude out a few months ago. And
remember, it's your own journey, right? So like, when somebody else gets their blue belt, it's great, you know what I'm saying? But
hell yeah,
and sometimes it does push you yourself, because you're like, wait a minute, maybe I should have been a blue belt. But you got to remember, you know, an athlete coming into a gym, it's going to take them a lot longer to get a blue belt, because it just depends who your coach is, really. But yeah, like at my gym, if you're an athlete, you already have that, and you come in the gym, it's going to take you a while to get your blue belt. Like me, I'm not a blue belt yet. You know what I mean? I'm a 4-stripe white belt. Do I deserve to be a blue belt? That's up to my coach. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's up to me, really.
Hands down.
Yeah, you know, and I think it's your journey. I think that's one. A lot of people, a lot of fighters and people just need to understand that it's your journey. It's not somebody else's journey. What they're doing is what they're doing, and you have to focus on you. And I know it's not a team sport, but you do need those people around you. You know what I'm saying? You have to have those people around you to push you. And that's what I do see. And I don't like to, be on Glory's nuts or anything, because but I do love those guys over there at Glory. That's one thing Kraus has, man, is he is instilling these guys with more than just physical knowledge. He's
a great coach.
He is a great coach, man. The things he does, man, he's going basically off of what Mark Montoya did.
Yeah, he's bringing Factory X to Kansas City.
I love seeing it, man. I love seeing it. The same goes for Drew Ingrandi up in St. Louis, Missouri with Wolves Den. And probably the same goes for people in Nate's area too. Certain coaches, man, that are just really shining right now. I don't know where I don't even know how I got on that topic. To be honest.
I don't know. We get to talk about whatever. Yeah, I agree, man. It is an individual journey, man. Like, I really just, I just did it because I know as a pro I was going to have to be able to do something. Fights are going to end up on the mat, so I got into it per my coach's demand. Zach, says you get your ass in here, and I don't want you at no gi. I want you at gi jiu-jitsu, man. You've got to. The one thing about gi jiu-jitsu that's different than no gi is that a lot of MMA guys don't think that gi jiu-jitsu is necessary. I disagree. I kind of fall where my coach's opinion is, and that is that with gi jiu-jitsu, man, for one, you're still building those muscles. Two, you have to use. You have to, when you have a gi on, man, it's like you have a bunch of ropes on your body, and like you have to use technique. You're not going to be able to muscle or athletically. The athletes are kind of like, it takes away the athleticism in it, and it goes just directly to a technique type of combat. And that I didn't realize how much I would enjoy that.
For a fat guy like me.
It comes entirely to that, but I had some guys come to the gym when I trained down in Florida that were just so much stronger than me. They were able to muscle me around. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, I'm a heavyweight. I mean, it's like, I don't know what else to do here. I can't. You're just muscling me, and I'm not. I don't quite have that skill yet to be able to use their strength against them. Like, man, my head coach up there, Marcelo Cohen, man, he weighs like 112 pounds. But
he just murders
at all. He will rip your arm off.
Yeah,
they just know how to move, man. They just know how to move. It's like me. If I get on top, they know that they could just keep moving for about 3 minutes, and then I'm tired. Like, or not even that. Probably like a minute, to be honest. And I'm tired. But they know how to move. They know how to do it. I feel like a gi helps a fat guy like me make it a little bit more competitive. I mean,
100%. It's 100%.
I feel like since I've been doing gi, that my no gi, because I haven't went to no gi in a long time, and then I went last week. I feel like I had improved in my no gi tremendously from doing gi. It's so weird, It's
no,
weird.
It's not weird at all. That's 100%.
What sucks though when you go to no gi is when you go for like that baseball choke or whatever, and all of a sudden you're like, I got nothing to grab onto.
Yeah. I know. That is the one thing. I like to just grab it and hold them down, like with the right behind their neck. That's like been my thing for like the last few weeks. I don't know why, but man, I figured out that one little thing to hold them down, and it's helped me tremendously. I
just get murdered by the upper belts, man. When it comes, I get the gi on. I just get absolutely murdered.
I get murdered by everyone in my gym. It's okay. I mean, there's kids in there that are kicking my ass straight up. There's a 17-year-old kid. There's a 17-year-old kid that started training with us, I'd say 3 weeks ago. Oh my God, this kid is the most, I don't know, man. He's the strongest damn 17-year-old kid ever. I'm like, I swear to God, this dude's outside chopping wood and then just walks in, I'm like, dude, what the hell?
Yeah, we got one of those on our at Glory Northland too, man. He's not 17, but he's a young kid, man. I don't even think he's 21 yet. But like he comes there, man, he's just a wrestling machine. And like, dude, he's a one. I think he fights at 155, man. He's part of the MMA team. He comes in there and he just comes religiously to no-gi, gi, whatever. He comes every night. He does a class. And every time I come in there, man, he's a good kid, man. I like sparring with him because of course that's where I get my get backs is when we get the gloves on and we do stand up. But yeah, the kid, man, just he Zach says, here, go ahead and wrestle him, and I'm like, are you sure, man? You want me to get with Big Mike or something? He's like, no, try this guy out. Yeah, I didn't know, dude. This little kid fucking was throwing me around, dude. I was like, what the fuck is going on here, man? Yeah, he's real good, man. I damned if I remember his name right now, but yeah, I know that everybody at Glory North remembers him.
It's crazy because you see these guys getting younger and younger, which means to us, to guys like us that are watching the sport, the talent is just getting better and better. You know what I'm saying? Because these guys are training now since they were, right now, some of them that are in the UFC have been training since they were kids. You know what I'm saying?
So here's the question, and here's one for both of you guys. Like, so do you feel like, just it's kind of been a trend? Do you believe that a fighter, obviously they're going to be more athletic and they're going to have more endurance and whatnot when they're in their 20s, but do you feel like a fighter gets a mental strength somewhere in their 30s that is helps them become champion and be able to handle what it's like and without getting, I feel like when they win young, they get there's something that happens cocky. It just doesn't seem to be the right formula for a long-standing champion, like when you get a guy that wins it when they're in 30, 31, 32, 33. What do you guys think?
The problem right now, I think, is these fighters are putting so much pressure on themselves at a young age. They're Instagram, and that's important right now, being popular on Instagram and being popular here and being popular there. So I don't really know what the question was, to be honest.
I'll be honest with you, man. I think that I think that the younger guys, they still have. I think that if you wait till you're in your 30s to get into it, that you've normally grown past that, except for some people like you, JW, have gone past the I want to get kicked in the face or punched in the face. I think
I've been fighting since I was 14.
I figure when you're in your 30s, you decide it's a bad idea. So I feel like I think you have to have a little bit of that edge of cockiness, and you have to have that Grant Dawson mentality. I hate to point somebody out. I've known Grant since he was like 18 years old. So
I guess what the question is, like, so obviously, man, like, so you obviously you get a wisdom when you hit 30. Like, we all know this. Like, yeah, there's just as you get older, you get wiser. It just and to put an age on it, some people are more mature than others. Or immature like I am, but like you get people that you get a guy or a girl that doesn't seem that like the formula is the same for the women's side of MMA, but for a guy you get a guy that is in his 20s and he's prime. Obviously when I was 20, man, I didn't even have to work out to stay in shape. I mean, it was just crazy. I started fighting MMA when I was 28. When I was 28, I started fighting MMA, but like when you hit 30, it just seemed like, man, there's just a mental strength that comes over. And I just noticed it just seems like it's a trend in MMA in general for long-term champions.
I think it just depends on the fighter, the fighter and the stuff that goes on outside of the cage. I've always told guys that, I'm around and in my circles that for everything to go right inside the cage, I feel like everything for a lot of fighters has to be going right outside the cage in their life.
1,000%. 1,000%.
In their career, I feel like, and I feel like that's where we see these guys get that little boost too, is once they start to come into them. But yeah, I think it's all depends on the fighter, because some people have more mental toughness than others. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I have the mental toughness of anything, but when I get in the gym, I get my ass kicked. It doesn't matter, but I feel like it just depends on the fighter.
Well, I was doing a podcast with Zach a few days ago. It'll be aired in a couple of weeks. Anyway, I was talking to him about that. This subject. I didn't say it wasn't the age thing, but the mental toughness and like, yeah, just from the time that I started at Glory, because like I lived and died by the sword, man. Like it was 96 or 90 seconds or less for me all the way through my career. Like I won half my fights by knockout. And it was just by, getting in there and getting a guy to brawl with me. Okay. So as a pro, Zach came to me and when me and Zach, became one, Zach said, dude, you're not going to live and die by punch, dude. It's not going to save you in the pro rankings, man. You know, this is the real deal. Like they're going to know it. They're going to take you down, and it's just going to be like this all the time. You've got to get in here. You've got to do this. You got to do that. So, what were we talking about again?
That's hard. That's hard.
I lost focus there. Anyway, so we were talking about the mental strength. So just in the time I started in Glory MMA and got in there and started doing the jiu-jitsu and the way like Zach was, man, he'll put you in these positions, man, and like I would tap right away. And when I first got in there, and he's like, no, he wouldn't allow me to tap. Like he would just put me in these positions and make me work and like take me down and punch me in the face. Like we roll with the small gloves, you know, we go take down and then, you know, hey, don't bash anybody in, but you know, he's touching you, you know, he's touching you and like, you know, we don't touch. There's a couple of guys in there that we don't touch. We're fucking socking each other up. And me and Zach are one of them. And there's a guy, Lavelle, in there that like you could really bang with these guys because as soon as the bell rings, they're your buddy again. Like, you know, then there's the guys that get, you know, mad and, you know, you don't want to beat up on the little guys either, you know. Anyway, dude, Zach would take me down and beat the dog shit out of me, man, and like just not let me tap. I'm like, man, hey, time out, man, reset. He's like, reset, nothing. I'm doing anything I can to get out from underneath this guy. But he wouldn't let me. And then, like, yeah, after obviously doing that for a while, man, you're just like, you're geared into where you're not giving up when you get into these tough positions and where you know, can hardly breathe. And okay, you know that if you just push through this, okay, if I could just hold on another couple of seconds, I'm either going to go unconscious or he's going to get tired, you know, those type things. Once you're in those situations, you're better equipped to handle them when you get into those situations in real life, you know, rather it be saving your own life when you're, you know, in a situation or being in the cage.
Yeah. I mean, fighters have to have mental toughness. I mean, most fighters are already, you know, have crazy issues, you know. I'm not most. a lot of
we're
fighters
all special.
have those issues, and that's why they're fighting. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them. So I think a lot of those guys. I think a lot of guys that come from the streets, you know, and have had a tough background. I feel like they do a little bit better in the sport. I guess maybe just mental wise, maybe not title winners or nothing like that, but mentally, because they've already been through that. You know, they've already had a lot of hardships in their life. I could be totally wrong. I'm just giving my opinion. You know what I'm saying? I'm just giving my opinion.
No, I think that I agree with that opinion. Just in my experience, like, yeah, you get kids that have had a tough life. A lot of times they're in trouble with the law, you know, man. I mean, you know, hey, this guy right here, man, I come from the streets, man. That's where I fought. And I found that MMA was an outlet. It kept me out of trouble, kept me out of bar fights. And that's one thing that is good about MMA. That is wonderful about MMA is that it takes some of the guys that have had that problem. Like I'm not a violent person, man, unless I'm provoked. But like I am like I just love competition. I always I'm old school. I've always liked the fact that a couple of guys can go out back and settle their differences like men, not get hurt. Hey, the loser buys the beer, man. And then our difference. Hey, growing up in high school, growing up in junior high, like man,
winner should buy the beer. I just want to say,
hey, winner can buy the beer too, right? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, the winner buys the beer.
Give me a beer.
Yeah, I'll buy you a beer afterwards. I don't win or lose. Well, let's have a beer afterwards. I just feel like, you know, that was a way of settling things that doesn't get the fucking cops involved. You know what? Hey, I'm going to stop if I hurt this guy. we're not going to beat each other to death. Like, you know, we're just going to settle our differences like men. And then we're going to go on with things like, you know, it just, that in my opinion, that's where I came from. That's how I always felt was the best way to settle a difference. You know, you got a couple of cocky assholes. Hey, duke it out. Some of my best friends I fought in high school.
Well, I will say that, you know, I understand where you're coming from there, and I think that's what the sport was built on. But I think you're starting to see an evolution in people that have grown up watching the sport, right, that they're no longer coming from that, but they you know, they have so much passion with it. They're seeing it. They want to go out and do it.
There's two different kinds. There's the athletes, and then there's the guys that come from the streets that kind of, right, you know, try to become athletes.
And I think you've got both of those. I mean, on the last card that I did here in Omaha, I mean, we had a guy that it was 2 weeks out of prison, fighting against a kid. And then you just got those other guys out there that are lifelong trainers. I mean, you go back
to done any time in prison, man. You've fought. You fought.
I can give you
fucking down.
I mean, you look at somebody like Anthony Smith, Jens Pulver. Those guys there are hard nosed, came from the streets kinds of guys.
Yeah.
But then you look at guys like Grant Dawson, James Crowd,
fans and athletes.
Those guys are people that are athletes that have a true passion, have a different type of passion for the sport. Their passion is for the sport, not to go out there and fight. I mean, you got two different kinds of people that get into it, and then you also, and now you're coming up with this third type of person who is the high school wrestler, the college wrestler, that all of a sudden have lost that competition in their life, and all they care about is competing.
Yes. Well, that's where college wrestlers come. The college wrestlers, exactly. That's it. And that's what I've tried to get some shows up there at the St. Mary's College in Leavenworth. They've got a really amazing arena, everything that we could put on shows, because the venue is one of the hugest, or one of the biggest problems with putting on shows in Leavenworth. There's a huge fan base there. But I killed every show there that I did. We did 7 shows there, and they were all, man, I sold out the first 3, and the rest of them were, I had 2,200 people at downtown Leavenworth, biggest event they've ever seen it. And then we got rained out. But it was, anyway, the St. Mary's College, man, the college wrestlers, man, once they're done with college, man, that's their, go-to, man. That's their go-to. The only, difference I feel like is that they haven't been punched in the face, and then some of them can handle it, some of them can't.
Well, here you go. I got the breaking news for you. Ben Askren just signed a fight against Jake Paul.
Hey, it's all about the money. There's another guy that's coming out of retirement. Were we just talking about that?
How do you see Ben Askren against Jake Paul going? I wonder if it's a boxing match.
Look,
it is a boxing match.
I hope my fellow MMA fans don't get too excited, because I don't think Ben Askren is going to be able to pull it off, man. I really don't. I think his dirty boxing is good, but as far as his striking, it's not that great.
It's trash. It's absolute trash.
These kids, man, these kids were high school athletes, good wrestlers in Ohio. People don't realize that. They have an ungodly amount of money, which means they can train with anybody they want. These kids are at least one of them, the one that knocked
these kids. Explain these kids.
Yeah. He got a good knockout. He got a good knockout on the basketball player, Nate Robinson. But these kids are going to evolve, and now's the time to fight them if you're going to fight them. But they're doing what every other fighters out there are mad, right? These kids are doing exactly what every boxer does. They take easy fights from the jump. They take easy fights. Probably professional boxers take 10 to 20 easy fights.
Oh, 20 easy.
So everybody that's giving this kid crap for fighting Ben Askren, it's a little ridiculous, because he's actually fighting tougher opponents than most, debut boxers, within 5 fights.
He's doing great because he's fighting popular guys, and he's bringing his dollars up.
They're targeting. They're targeting names that are known for their grappling, not known for their striking. The people that they're calling out that are known for their striking are guys they know they're not going to get in there. They're calling out Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor's never going to go fight against Jake Paul. He can fight against Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah.
But if you can make the same money fighting Pacquiao or Jake Paul, who you fighting? You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Those kids do have money.
They're targeting Ben Askren. They're targeting these guys that are grapplers that, in all honesty, in striking and stand-up striking with big gloves on, they're going to be at a similar level, because they're doing the same things in the gym. They're going in, they're doing the striking, they're doing boxing. The other guys are doing probably Muay Thai or kickboxing of some sort.
Yep.
They're training the same way.
Yeah, well, and I can tell you, so I have an opinion about MMA and boxing. So, as I've taken a boxing match. Now, here's the kicker. And I think that this is so MMA guys are used to 4-ounce gloves, which are just there to protect their fists from being broke on your head. Okay. That's not there for your safety. That's there for my safety, bro. I'm going to punch you hard. Okay. And what happens when you get hit with a 4-ounce glove, and it's in the chin area, man, like you're probably going to go to sleep. Okay. You just got more impact, all that stuff. And then MMA guys are used to that. Okay. Boxing guys, here's the deal. They're used to taking punches. That's why I think MMA does so well in bare knuckle, that boxers are not doing as well in bare knuckle, because boxers are used to fighting with 12-ounce gloves. Okay. 12-ounce gloves, man, you're okay with taking a shot or two. Like, even maybe if it's to set up a combination, boom, boom, boom. I'm going for points. I'm going for knockouts. I'm trying to set up a big, hard haymaker. But I know that this haymaker, even as hard as I punch it, if he ducks his head, it glances off of, the upper jaw, or even the head. Like, it's probably not going to KO him, but it's going to hurt. Dude, MMA guys are not used to that. So you get an MMA guy with some boxing gloves on, all right? And he expects to go in there and do what he normally does, and which is throw fucking power punches to Conor McGregor. And you tire yourself out, man. You wear yourself out, man. I went in there and boxed. I went a round and a half. It got stopped for the canvas was slick, rain.
This guy has the worst bad luck in fights that I've ever heard about. Talk about experience.
If it's outside, man, I ain't doing it no more, because it's gonna rain. Hands fucking down. So anyway, I went
Every
in there
time outside it's rain.
and it didn't work out.
That's great.
I settled down and started boxing, and then I started doing better in the second round. But it was, they stopped the fight, and it was no contest, whatever. I'd love to box again, but I know that it was a good learning experience for me. They're like, okay, now this is a different sport. You don't have to worry about leg kicks. You lead a little bit differently when you're worried about leg kicks. You got to be able to check and whatever. I think that the MMA guys don't do as well in boxing as we'd like to think.
Yeah, it's a different sport. It's a different pace. I think that is what, like you said about bare knuckle, first of all, MMA guys can use the clinch. We saw David Rickles, and I feel like I say this every time I talk about the clinch in bare knuckle. We've seen David Rickles really utilize that the best out of anyone so far in bare knuckle. And he clinched. I didn't even realize you could do the clinch like as much as they did.
Neither did I.
But man, he used it, and it is a lot. Everything is different. Those sports are not the same. A boxer is not going to come over to MMA and do shit. And an MMA fighter, for the most part, is probably going to fight better in a boxing match than if a boxer came over to MMA. Like, let's be honest, they'll get done.
Yeah.
But there
just
are
because the cross training.
There are those guys that can do the crossover and can do all of it and be successful, but I hate seeing MMA guys go fight boxers. I hate it. It bothers me, when I first started managing fighters, I used to tell the guys, go do your own thing. And then you start looking at their records in boxing and you're like, holy shit, dude, you're 1-0 and you're fighting an 11-0 guy. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's nuts, it's money,
your food. Your food for the boxers. And, a lot of time the boxing pays better than the MMA. So like that's the boxers or the MMA guys like, fuck it, man. I don't care about a boxing record. I'll go in there and fight this fucking guy. Yeah. And they go in and get their fucking brains beat in. And boxing, I also feel like boxing, you take more blows to the head. Just as a boxer, I come from a boxing background. I got 11 amateur boxing fights. This is when I was in high school. Man, you're not getting the MMA, you get caught, you get stumbled, they stop the fucking fight. Man, boxing, man, dude, a lot of places are, here we got John Carden, boxing promoter extraordinaire. Here,
the legacy continues.
He's a big time boxing promoter. He a big time boxing fan promoter.
Anything that John Carden will promote boxing, kickboxing, and the MMA all in the same night and throw it into a tournament where you got to do all three. Like that's how John is. He's always trying to.
John's like, I like that about him. John's trying
to always think of something. When I was working with him, he did where you had to box in the first round and then the final fight was an MMA fight, a tournament, and it was a legit tournament. I loved it. Sharky Slider actually won the tournament. It was solid. It was a little different, not something we see.
And it's like it gets monotonous. I've talked to guys about that. Not right now with COVID, but before COVID, pre-COVID, like they're just the the market is like just saturated with MMA shows. Like we talked about this, Chris. Just every weekend you've got, there in Kansas City alone, man, we'd have 3 or 4 fucking boxing or 3 or 4 MMA shows in a goddamn weekend, man. And it was like, boy, it got oversaturated, man. I wouldn't say it's nice that the COVID thing, but it kind of reeled shit in a little bit, man, and it made it the quality, like, so FAC's high, Fighting Alliance Championship is the only show running in Kansas City right now. I don't know what it's like up in Omaha, Nate, but like it's filtered down to one promotion, and it's really a good promotion. Like the production itself is very high quality. You almost feel like you're at a UFC fight. Nate, you're part of that, man.
I appreciate it, man. Hey, while we're on the subject about these other sports, I do have to throw something out there. So Nebraska right now in legislature is opening up the ability to do bare knuckle fighting and kickboxing here in Nebraska. So super excited about it. If you're in Nebraska, let's get behind it. Let's make it happen, man.
Yeah, that's great for like, I really love what they're doing. I bare knuckles product is freaking fantastic. When it first came out, I was a skeptic. I was like, oh my gosh, it's taking MMA back. Like, dude, it's not even MMA. Like, but in my head, that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, it's going to take MMA backwards. Like, we just got to where everything's cool, everything. We got weight classes. But like, that was dumb thinking of me because it's its own product. And
yeah.
David Feldman and Nate Shook are doing great things over there. Like,
yeah, I have Nate Shook on the podcast.
The theatrics are a little much sometimes for me, but you know what? It sells and it works for them. So continue doing what they're doing. A lot of fans are upset because Paige Van Zant's the main event. I'm like, dude, you guys don't think, man, if they're the main event, then everyone else gets to see the solid bare knuckle fighters that there is on that card. Everyone wants to see Paige Van Zant. Johnny Bedford versus Nat Nguyen. That is going to be a solid fight. This whole Super Bowl card that they have on February 5th, it is solid, man. Chris Lee.
What was that last fight you just said?
That win. Yeah. Thank you.
That win. Yeah. Was he like, so the only reason I know that is because there was a linebacker that played for the Cowboys that was called that win. And that was how it was like NG. It was really crazy spelling. Cardin's chiming in again. Says I'm in Omaha for September Fest. Was supposed to do last year before it was canceled. I don't know what that means. Was there supposed to be a fight last year or something that got canceled?
So September Fest every year we've done MMA there. That they do outside under a tent. I'm assuming John was doing boxing there.
Yeah.
Because we did it. Omaha Fight Club did it for a year. And then Dynasty did it for a couple of years and then kind of got out of that business. It was a little bit difficult. Man, those outdoor shows are just a pain in the ass sometimes.
Especially in the Midwest. It's either raining or it's so hot and humid that it's actually sweating.
The dew point is what we've always run into issues with is the canvas. When the sun starts to go down, all of a sudden the canvas starts turning into an ice skating rink, regardless of what's going on.
It doesn't matter because when there's the cold air or the hot air up here, and then it just doesn't work. I've always told promoters, take the skirt off and let it breathe before the show.
It doesn't help.
It works a little bit, but it doesn't.
It does help a little bit. It gives you maybe another 20 minutes of dry canvas. That's it. Like seriously,
all kinds of Mr. Slip and Slide in the MMA world,
and then the boxing world, dude. It was horrible.
Show that I worked on was in North Platte. They did it out in the fairgrounds. It's actually a super cool show. But I'll never forget Brian Houston fought against Superman Todd Meredith. And Brian Houston went to go through a head kick and ended up on his back. His foot slipped out from under him.
Man, Topeka, when I boxed for boxed in Topeka, man, I went in the ring and I went to do my little lap that I take right before every fight, and I fell right on my ass. It was fucking horribly embarrassing. It was then my teammate who was working my corner, Nick Grass, was like, yeah, man, if you've ever seen a Chris Farley movie, Yeah, that's what Chris Farley would look like if he got into a movie and he did boxing. And I was like, well, when I thought I couldn't feel any worse about a thing, like, yeah, he goes and says that. It was great though. Yeah, no, it was. Go ahead.
Man, I remember Titan one time did an outside show at Harley, and it was, we always talk about the heat and how it sweats and stuff. Man, it was 30 degrees outside, and them dudes was fighting. You could just see their breath the whole time. Like their whole bodies were just like smoke and stuff was coming off of them. It was cold as can be, dude. 30 degrees, 2-night show. Man, I don't know. You have any experience?
If I got any advice for anybody doing a show in the Midwest, man, keep the shit indoors. And I don't give a fuck what time of year it is. It's just the weather's too crazy around here. I would almost rather it be a little cold. But my last UCL show was October 2019, and man, it was like 45, 50 degrees, man. And like James Krause and Grant Dawson were like, had these big heavy coats on like it was wintertime. I'm like, what are you guys doing, man? And they're like, I don't know. I was running around promoting. It was the one that no, that wasn't the one that you and I think it was the one that you and I did jiu-jitsu.
I still got beef on our grappling match, man. We wore gis and you did all MMA stuff. You didn't do no gi.
What?
No.
I armbarred the dog shit out of you, man, and I swatted you on the ass.
One time, he MMA'd me. He MMA'd me in there, Nate. That's what happened. I pulled guard like an idiot. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I was like, oh yeah, let me pull the guy on me. I don't know, dude.
Hey, I got a guy on the street that used to have that combat jiu-jitsu belt. He can show you what to do when he starts doing that shit.
Hey, no, I had to ask the athletic man, what is his name, man?
Adam
you asked ref. I was like, man, can I swat his ass? And he laughs and he goes, yeah. So I swatted him on the ass, and everybody, it was great. It was a fun time, man. Yeah, we'll have to do that again, man. Chris, with the stage is set now, man. Like
once we get our blue belts, we'll do it again.
That's it. Man,
a little motivation.
Yeah. Hey, yep. Blue belts. That means we both got to get them right around the same time. I don't even have a stripe yet. Like, yeah. I feel like I grapple no-gi too much, man. Like, it's I do grappling too much. I need to just get in there, and I got my buddy gave me his brand new gi. So like, yeah, I just got my personal life in order, man. Like I talked to Zach.
5-year white belt. Don't be. It's all right, bro. I'm a 5-year
white belt. I'm not. Hey, I'm a white belt. I've been training for almost 2 years now. But my attendance is the biggest thing for jiu-jitsu. I did mostly MMA classes and then no-gi classes. So not to make excuses, I definitely want to focus more on my jiu-jitsu. But I talked to Zach the other day, man. So like there's going to be some fight news in the works here in the next month or two. John Carden's listening. So I called out one of his guys for a bare knuckle. Yep. Isaac Doolittle.
You can't just leave it like that.
Isaac Doolittle. I said I want a bare knuckle Isaac Doolittle. And so what's that?
85 though, right?
Yeah, I got to cut down to 205.
Dang, son.
What, bro?
You don't look that big. You don't look that big right now.
I used to do 205 all the time.
That's not too bad. Yeah, I knew that he was looking for somebody.
So it's not bad. Like I should be probably cutting to 205, man. I just felt like there towards the end of the part. I just felt like I was getting more athletic guys at 205.
I think bare knuckle fits you well. I really do. I really do say that. I don't think it's a great thing to do.
Right into your genre.
I'll tell you what. So I got a good friend of mine, Matt Delanoy. Man, you want to talk about a guy that has reinvigorated his career through bare knuckle. I mean, he was, kind of gotten old in the tooth and stuff, and Lieben's another one of those guys. But Matt, he's gone out there and he's killing guys. I mean, he's keep an eye on him, man. I think he's going to do good in that sport for the next couple of years.
Delanoy's
it kind of favors the older, tougher guys, in my opinion, man. If you look at some of the bare knuckle guys, man, they look like fucking bikers, bro. They got big fucking, they look like old fucking like 30 to 40-year-old bikers, dude. They're going out there and they're just knocking each other's teeth out, man. It's fucking awesome. Like, I love it.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing is that, I was real skeptical on it about putting my guys in there. Both my guys went in there and looked great. Kendrick Latchman went in there and got a first round finish of Miles McDonald. Shout out to Miles.
Yeah,
I love that guy.
Right. I watched him in the tryouts.
Yeah, and then Kenny Licia went in there and he went against Stephen Harrison, who is I think sitting at number 3 right now, and he knocked him out in the first round. I mean, like that's the thing. I was real skeptical, but that Kenny Licia is all for it. Kendrick is one of the guys that is like, hey, I'll do it if I can't get an MMA fight. Like straight up, he's like, I'll do it. And Kendrick got one fight and he's sitting at the number 1 spot in the world at 125. Like that's nuts. Like he's like, I don't know, but it's not his passion. His passion is
Right.
MMA. He will go do it though if he sees somebody that wants some hands. I mean, that's just the way Kendrick is.
Well, hey
So,
guys, I gotta be. We need to do this again sometime.
Yep.
It's been a lot of fun. But hey,
we got an hour and a half on here, so
make sure that you tune in to Fight TV tomorrow night. Watch that DC show. Chris, I don't know if you know Ronald Coleman out there out of Missouri. He's main eventing. It's gonna be one heck of a card. It's gonna be one heck of a card.
All right, guys. Yeah, we're gonna reel it in. Man, any quick shout outs? I know you just did a shout out. Nate, anything else?
Man, follow MMA Futures, sub us on YouTube. Man, these podcasts will be on our YouTube channel, along with we release fights every day at 6:00 as long as we got the inventory of them. And we got a pretty good inventory right now, so it's got to get out there. So give us that sub. We premiere them every weekday at 6:00.
All right, brother. Hey, thanks for joining us, man. I'm going to kick you off, and me and Chris are going to wrap it up.
All right, have fun, man.
Yep. See you, buddy. All right, Pimp. So I got to get going too, man. We really was chatting it up, man. It's good shit.
Hey, I want to say February 20th, there's Nemesis Fighting Alliance in St. Louis. Make sure you check that out. And then March 5th,
teammates on that
Fighting Alliance Championship 7 in Kansas City. And that fucking card is going to be on UFC Fight Pass, and it's amazing, man. It's amazing.
What's the date on that one?
March 5th.
Why did I think it was February 5th?
I don't know.
I don't know. I was tripping that. That's why I was trying to.
That's like a few days away, Kaiser. Dang.
That's what I was saying, man. I was trying to get that shit done for Joe. I was like, anyway. Okay. Well, now I can breathe a sigh of relief.
That's great. All right, brother.
Yep. All right, guys. We're going to kick you off here. All right, bro. I'll see you around.
Peace.
All right, guys. That was our show. We're going to wrap it up now. That was Nathan from MMA Futures. Man, he does all kinds of stuff. MMAfutures.com. Check him out. That was also Chris Gregory. He's a matchmaker. He's heavily involved with MMA in the Midwest. And then myself. Hey, tune in. We have a new show on Spotify every Friday. This show here we did as a special event. We went live with it. Normally I edit them and then we release them on Spotify and all that stuff. Anyway, every Friday at 3 new episodes, and then occasionally we'll kick out one that's a special event like we did today. We're if you're looking to get on the show, I'm looking for just people that are interested in being on the show that are community leaders, small business owners, anybody that wants to kind of discuss some current issues, man. We talked about the Wall Street thing when we first started the show. I thought that was pretty interesting. Anything that you guys want to talk about, you want to be on the show, just shoot me a message on Facebook. I answer all my messages. So with that being said, I'm gonna bounce out of here. Peace out, and have a good one.